Come here. Oh, you're so cute. Hello, everybody. Oh, you're so cute. So apparently this video does indeed have a live studio audience of one. Alright, hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my November wrap-up for you guys, and I'm super excited to be doing this video because I have had such a good reading month, honestly. I think I've read 13 books this month, and 6 out of those 13 books have been 5 stars, which is just amazing, and I'm so excited to talk about all of the books that I loved this month. And yeah, very excited. We're just gonna get into it. But first, I do want to take a second to talk about the sponsor of this video, who I'm so excited to be working with again, Book of the Month. If you guys don't know, Book of the Month is a super popular and fast-growing online book service for readers that aims to promote new and emerging authors and help readers like you and me discover new books that we could potentially love. Basically, how it works is their team goes through hundreds of different new and early release titles and then comes out with a curated selection that you can then choose from. So you can spend more time reading and less time researching. I always find this super helpful because I never know what the new release titles are for any given month, so I always just look at what Book of the Month is chosen, and that kind of gives me a taste of what's coming. Something I also really love about Book of the Month is their skip policy. So if you're not feeling any of the titles that they have selected for any given month, you can always just choose to skip at no charge to you. Right now especially is a really good time to sign up because while they always have the best price for new hardcover fiction, right now they're running a deal where you can get your first book for $5 with the code WONDER, which is just insane to think about getting a new hardcover book for $5. So that's a deal if you ask me, and I would highly recommend. So they did send me 2 books from their December selection, so let's talk about them really quickly. First up, everybody knows her, everybody loves her. We have Babel by R.F. Kuang. Obviously this book has been everywhere, so when I saw that they had this as a December pick, I was like, oh yeah, absolutely. So basically this is a dark academia type situation set at Oxford, but I do believe it deals with topics of colonialism and racism because it's following our main character, Robin Swift, who is an orphan, and he's one day brought to London by this mysterious professor. While he's there, he goes to Oxford and he hopes to one day enroll in this really prestigious like translation school that they have. But while he starts to work towards that goal, he starts to have reservations about it. He starts to feel like he's betraying his homeland, and it's an exploration of that, but there's also magic in it. So I've just heard unbelievably good things about this book, and I'm so excited to get to it myself. And then the next book I picked out I'm super excited about because this is Kiss Her Once for Me by Alison Cockrum. I heard that it was a sapphic holiday romance, and I was like, yeah, say no more. I'm just gonna read you the little blurb that they have about it on their website because I think, like, this is exactly why I picked it up. It says, cozy up with this delightful holiday tale as old as time. Boy meets girl, girl meets boy's sister. Which I just think sounds so fun. I really hope I can get to this in December, obviously, and yeah, it's just gonna be a good time. So yes, I'm incredibly excited about those, but they do have some other lovely selections that you can check out as well. So thank you so much to Book of the Month for sponsoring another video of mine and supporting me and my content, and to you guys as well for also supporting me and my content. Literally makes me so happy. So yes, let's get into all of the books that I read in November. So the first book I'm going to talk about is the Heartstopper Yearbook by Alice Oseman. I think this book came out in October maybe, and I've been really excited about it. I gave this one a 5 stars because I will give anything relating to Heartstopper 5 stars because that's what it deserves. It contains some cool things like character profiles. It also contains like early sketches that Alice Oseman did of Nick and Charlie, which I found very interesting to look at. And I just thought it was really cute. It was a really fun time, so obviously I had to give 5 stars. However, I don't really have much else to say about it because it was literally so short. So if you like Heartstopper, I would recommend it. Next up, I'm going to quickly talk about the Inheritance Game series because I do have an entire spoiler-free vlog that I did earlier this month, but obviously I do want to quickly mention them. So I gave the first one in the series, the Inheritance Games, 4 stars, and then I gave the Hawthorne Legacy and the Final Gambit 3 stars. I definitely was a little disappointed by this series, and I do think it's because of the hype surrounding it, because like everybody loves it. It's like a huge thing on TikTok, so I was like, it'll probably be a fun time, and I definitely think the first one was a fun time. I liked the riddles, I loved the house they were staying, and the vibes were just there. But personally, I don't think the vibes were there in the second or third books. Like, they weren't awful, but I have very neutral thoughts about both of them, to be honest, because there's like this love triangle situation that I didn't really care for that much. The mystery also kind of took a turn in these 2 books into something that I just did not love. However, I did really like the mystery in the first one. So while I feel like the first one is definitely worth a read, I don't know if I'd say the same about the second or third, which is disappointing, but I'm glad I liked at least one of them out of the series. So didn't hate it, didn't love it, neutral. Next up I have Queen of Shadows by Sarah J Maas, and this is one of my other 5-star reads for the month. I love this book so much. I thought it was just like the best out of the series so far in my opinion. I really liked the plot in this one, and I thought the book was really well paced. I really liked, for the most part, all of the POVs. There was this one POV, which I just feel like I keep talking about this damn POV, but there's this one POV, an Heir of Fire, that I was just not vibing with. However, I do think as this book progressed, I really started to understand this character more, and now I do really enjoy their POVs. So a lot of character development for that POV, and character development for me, because I really learned to appreciate their POV and see what it adds to the story. I also really love the ending of this book. I just feel like every Sarah J Maas book has like a really action-packed, intense ending, and that's what I love them for, and this one did not disappoint. So yeah, it was a good read. Now we're gonna move on to the section which I call my vampire books I read this month, because I think I read like 4. First up, I finally finished Vampire Academy, and I'm still kind of empty thinking about it, to be honest, because I'm so sad it's over. But I read the 5th book in the series, Spiritbound, which I gave 5 stars, and then I also read Last Sacrifice, which I also gave 5 stars. Freaking love this series. By the end of it, I was just absolutely obsessed. I could not stop reading it. I feel like the series really just gets so much better as you progress. So if you've read the first one and you're not vibing it, I would definitely recommend continuing on. I feel like once it hits the 3rd book, it's just like, wow. So many things happened. That's when I was like, I think I have to give all these books 5 stars. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just had such a good time reading them. I couldn't not give them 5 stars. Honestly though, at this point, I don't remember a damn thing that happened in this book, to be honest, because I've been like marathoning all of them. So I'm like, I don't know what went down in this book. Like, I have like a general idea of the overarching plot, you know, but like, what did happen in this book? So that's embarrassing, but like, just know that it was good, I guess. All I know is I really liked the conclusion to this series, and I was very satisfied by the ending, so yeah. It's just sad talking about this because I got nothing. I don't know. Moving on to something that I could never forget even if I tried, I finally did a reread of Twilight by Stephanie Meyer. Obviously, I gave it a 5 stars. Like, there's no way I wasn't gonna give my reread of Twilight a 5 stars. However, I have recently, like very recently, posted a vlog where I mainly talk about this book, so I won't go into it too much. But I freaking love Twilight so much, and I feel like my reread of it has only further reignited my love for this series. And I'm definitely going to be reading the rest of the books in this series as well, and going through and annotating them, because I had such a good time annotating this book, and I am so excited about reading the rest of them. It's gonna be so good. So this book overall, I love like the first 75% of it. It's really just about Edward and Bella and getting to know each other, and her finding out that he's a vampire and all this fun stuff, and that's the best part of the book. But for some reason, Stephanie Meyer decided to throw a plot onto the end of this book, and I don't love the plot, to be honest. Like, I don't care. I don't read Twilight for the plot. I read it for Edward. You know what I'm saying? So I don't love the end of this book, but I don't even care that I don't love the end of this book, because there's no way it wasn't getting a 5 stars. I, however, have talked too much about Twilight recently, so I'm going to leave it at that. Just know that I will be reading New Moon in December, so be on the lookout for that vlog, because it's already planned. As soon as I finish my finals this month, time to get into Twilight. It's gonna be a good time. The next book that I read this month is King of Battle and Blood by Scarlett St. Clair, and I give this one a 3.5 stars. I definitely really enjoyed my time reading this book. I thought it was really fun. It's very smutty. There's a lot of steamy scenes, and it's got vampires in it. So I was like, yep, that sounds like something I need to read right now. So, yeah, that's kind of all it is, to be honest. Like, there's a little hint of a plot, a little tendril starting towards the end of this book, but for the most part it's like a forced marriage, enemies to lovers type situation. So I definitely enjoyed my time reading this book, and I'm definitely going to be picking up the second book that's coming out in this series in December. I think it comes out December 20th, and I still don't remember what it's called, but it's like Queen of Myth and something. Close enough. But I do want to see what's gonna happen with Adrian and Isolde, so it's gonna be a good time. And then next up, I want to talk about like my recent obsession, because I started this series like not even a week ago, honestly. I think I started it like 6 days ago, but I've already read like 3.5 books out of the series, because I can't get over it. I literally love it. And the thing is, you probably wouldn't get that from what I rated the first book, but it just gets like exponentially better as you go through the series. And that series is Guild by Raven Kennedy. I don't have the first book, but I do have these copies of the second and third book that I've been reading from the library. Overall, I gave the first book, Guild, 3 stars. I gave the second book, Glint, 4 stars. And then I gave Gleam a full 5 out of 5 stars. Freaking love this book, but I'm gonna like talk about them individually. I really enjoyed the concept of this series because it is based off of the King Midas myth, you know, where everything he touches turns to gold. So in this series, King Midas is there, but he's actually gold touched a person, and that is our main character, Orin. She is lovely, golden skinned, like literally, and that King Midas will protect at all costs, but not in like a cute way. It's like a way where he keeps her in cages and doesn't let her go anywhere without him. And for a while, Orin is okay with this. She doesn't really see a problem with it until she finally is forced to leave the kingdom, and she sees that the world is so much bigger than her cage, and she realized she doesn't deserve this kind of treatment. She wants more, she wants better for herself, and it's really just about her stepping away from all this abuse that she's been enduring over the last 10 years. And I love seeing the character transformation for her. It makes me so happy. However, I don't love the first book in this series. However, I do think it sets up the plot for the second one really well, but I do feel like the first and second ones could have been like smushed together and it would have been a really good book. But either way, I've still been really enjoying the series. Like, the second book is just so much better than the first one, and this is kind of where the romance aspect of the book starts. There's not a lot of romance in the first one, and I was like, this is a fantasy romance series. What's going on? But it's worth the wait. I freaking love them so much. Like, the relationship is the reason why I read this series. I'm obsessed with them. So Glint, it was great. It was like the build up to everything. But then I just feel like Gleam is so good. Like, I just really like the plot of this one. I really loved the development in the relationship. There were so many things happening at the end of this book that I was like literally shocked. I was having visceral reactions to them when I was reading them, and it was a lot. I also like sat down and read 500 pages of this book in one evening because I was like, I can't stop reading, you know? And any book that can capture my attention for 500 pages straight deserves a 5 stars. Like, I probably would have finished if it wasn't like 1 a.m. and I had class the next morning. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, I just loved my time reading this book. I thought it was really good. And I'm just so excited that I decided to start this series. I am in the middle of the 4th one right now, which I believe is called Glow. And the last book in this series, I do believe, comes out in June of next year, maybe. It's honestly gonna be really sad though, and I keep having to tell myself to stop reading the 4th one so quickly because it's gonna be like 6 months before I get any more content from the series. And I've just been binging it this week, so I think I'm gonna it's gonna be a sad experience when I finish the 4th one, but it's fine. I do quickly want to mention that the first book in this series is rather brutal. I think the second and third books are a little more tame, but if you are thinking about checking this out, I would recommend looking up the trigger warnings before you do so. And then the last book I want to talk about is A Far Wilder Magic by Alison Saft. This was the Wyverns and Words book club pick for November. I actually ended up giving this book I think I put it in as a 2-star. Originally, I was going to give it a 3-star, but like looking at all of the other books that I gave it 3 stars, I was like, this one, it's not on the same level, you know? Because for me, a 3-star book is still an enjoyable time. If I give a book a 3 stars, it just wasn't my favorite, but I had a decent time reading it. With The Far Wilder Magic, I wouldn't say it was like awful, but I just didn't love it, and I don't think it really deserved a 3 stars. So that's very unfortunate, and I'm honestly really sad that I ended up disliking one of our book club picks so much. But I know Cass and a lot of people on the live show also didn't enjoy it, so I feel like it was a consensus that it just wasn't great. So I won't spend too much time talking about it. I didn't love the plot, didn't love the characters, didn't see like any chemistry in the romance, so that was like 3 strikes, you're out. Like, you gotta go. I just did not love this book. So yes, those are all of the books that I read in November. I feel like I've gotten to so many good reads, and I've just had such a good time reading all the books that I've picked up this month, and I'm like, this just goes to show that I need to read more fantasy romance. You know what I'm saying? Or vampire romance. Any kind of like fantasy vampire romance. That's the stuff right there. So definitely going to be picking up more of those in December, obviously, and I'm really excited about it. So please do let me know down below, as always, what your favorite book you read this month is, or if you're feeling shady, let me know your least favorite book. I think for me, my favorite book, it's a toss-up between Twilight and Gleam for sure. Like, loved my time reading both of those, but I can't choose. Also, thank you again so much to Book of the Month for sponsoring this video. Don't forget, you can use the code WONDER to sign up and get your first book for $5. So yes, that's everything. I'm going to let you guys go, and I will see you in my next video.